In this video, I'm going to show you how I built this absolutely glorious hammock decking using nothing but free, reclaimed and recycled wood. Then, because it's high value educational content, I'll demonstrate how to eat an ice lolly in front of two incredibly focused dogs, securing a kiss from one and successfully deploying evasive manoeuvres to stop the other one, launching an armed robbery on my Slero. And coming up in this video, you will see the building site, the pallet forest, the base, the free wood, the supervisor, and you will see and hear ripping, cutting, gluing, clamping, hammering, squeezing, sanding, sawing, lifting, kicking, sanding again, painting while the supervisor is asleep, beverage drinking, dog sitting, ice cream eating, and the aforementioned canine lolly heist. And if you're new to woodworking or want to work with free wood, then you'll get all my top tips, recommendations for fellow YouTube sites that you can learn from, as well as my running commentary on why I did and why I did not do certain things in certain ways. Fancy watching all of it for 10 minutes? Good. I'd hoped you'd say that. It all started here, the gravel pit of despair, where the hammock sits at a frankly perilous angle. It has the same structural stability of a supermarket trolley with one locked wheel. We all have that one spot in the garden, the unloved, untouched corner that you actively try to ignore. And if you're struggling to find the motivation to tackle yours, do what I do. Go check out my mate Brett on Useless to Useful. If watching him build things doesn't inspire you to grab your tools and get stuck in, nothing will. All good free builds start by a visit to the pallet forest at the bottom of my garden. Now I have a dedicated wood store filled with busted down pallet slats, but today I don't just want any old slats. I need very specific measurements, which means obviously I don't have them. Pallets can smell weakness, you see. The exact microsecond you need a specific size, they instantly become less organised than the one drawer in your kitchen that's full of mystery cables, dead batteries and old takeaway menus. My top tip for beginners is find a space to store your wood. A garden, an alleyway or a garage is ideal, but look for spaces in your workshop, or build some shelving, or better still, a free wood store, like this one. I'm often asked where I find my free wood. Top of the pops is industrial estates. These are pallet gold mines, and if they're throwing it out, it's fair game. Always ask though. I made friends with the manager of a cardboard printing company on my local industrial estate, and I now get preferential treatment. Look at these super large pallets that I use for the pallet slat fence in my son's garden. Number 2 would be bespoke companies. I would like to befriend a fruit and veg shop because they definitely won't have chemicals in their pallets. My friend has a flooring company and they store their pallets indoors, away from the great British weather. In the dry. Good enough for me. And great when you want 8 identical pallets like the recent shed build. Coming in at number 3, don't ignore charity shops. Some of the larger stores sell furniture, but if a donation has a scratch or is missing a file label, they legally have to scrap it, and they pay someone to collect it. Heartbreaking, but it is the world we live in. I step in as a hero, I take all the wood and sort it, and the good stuff ends up in the new wood store down by the pallet forest. Things like bed slats end up as a luxury bench for my son's catio, because cats' lives matter. The inspiration for my catio came from Keith Brown, Rag and Bone Brown on YouTube. Tons of good DIY and woodworking on his channel. And finally, don't forget skips and tips. Always keep an eye for local home renovations, but never steal from the skip. Talk to the builders and always bring bribes. Ice cream on a hot day, pack of beer all year round. Technically the wood isn't free anymore, but a pack of donuts is a brilliant exchange for a carload of timber. Just look at this lot. So, back to the decking project. We have 2 main pallets at the back. I've used the Gorilla Pallet Buster to give them a polite thrashing on the front edges, and I've chopped up a third to act as extensions. I'm now adding back the busted slats that I should have taken a little bit more care with, using the same nails that they started with. Now, this is the base that the decking will actually sit on. Does it need to be perfect? Absolutely not. My official DIY motto is that'll do. We're not crafting a Swiss watch here, and our client isn't the royal family. Now, I should point out that it was about this time that my wife took one look at this and called it an absolute monster. And she didn't mean monstrously big or a monster project, she meant monster ugly. I have exactly 7 days to finish this or burn it, because we have guests coming next week and the weather forecast has promised it will be warm and sunny. Warm and sunny in the UK. We celebrate that like we've just won Eurovision. To be fair, both happen about as often as each other. Flags out, drinks flowing, shirts off. If the mercury hits 21 degrees, Suddenly Gary from number 12 convinces himself he's living in Marbella. So I've got this cheeky little pallet with a bit of plywood on the top, and I trim the edges and then give it a good punching and squeeze it into that gap. That'll do. That really will do. The inspiration for this masterpiece came from these 2x2s that are a smidge short on length. I saw them in a skip on my way back from a dog walk. The skip was bursting with gorgeous wood, and it turns out the homeowner runs a roofing company. He also had roofing battens with that lovely radioactive orange waterproofing on them. I'll cut the 2x2s, I'll rip the roof battens, and I'll combine that with a hardwood pallet I broke up recently. Beautiful colour, but warped like an old vinyl record left on a radiator. That'll do. It'll have to. We have our very first deadline in our woodworking career. I absolutely love a glue up. I love that stripy butcher block look, especially with the Peter Parker roof battens that I've got. It makes me feel like I actually know what I'm doing. It's like carrying a ladder through a busy shop. It gives you instant unearned authority. No one asks questions, and if you walk through with enough confidence, the world believes in you. As a beginner, I bought these bar clamps early on. Started with 3, instantly went back for 3 more. Best purchase ever. Sometimes I complain that my clamps are too long, and they do constantly get in the way. But then I do remind myself of the golden rule. It's better to have the length and not need it, than need it and not have it. You can always use a large clamp for a small glue up, but you can never use a small clamp for a large glue up. Now, because I've joined multiple short pieces together to get the right length, I'm using all 6 clamps on each slab to force them to stick together sideways and lengthways, clamped at the weak points, which is where the joints are, and that's why you see them all bunched together. God bless YouTube editing, eh? Shortens these agonising stages. I made 10 of these slabs over 7 straight days. We got that deadline, don't forget. You only have to suffer 1 glue up. I had to suffer them all. Trying something new here. Sawdust and glue, or glue and sawdust. Do you mix them together and then spread it out? Or like I'm doing here, do you add glue from a tomato ketchup bottle and rub in sawdust from a Kelly's ice cream tub? It felt like I was a professional chef rubbing in seasoning to a juicy steak. I also spoke like Gordon Ramsay when one of these slabs gave me the mother of all splinters as well. I think a YouTube channel dedicated to all those things you don't know but wish you did would be a success. Maybe I'll create a playlist called How To, or Shay's Top Tips. Depending on when you're watching this, it might be worth checking out my playlist. Anyway, we glue, we vacuum, we sand. That's what Bluetooth headphones were invented for. And I must admit, my playlist for this build was phenomenal. There comes a part in any project where you have the bits and bobs section. Nothing meaty, nothing mighty. This is it. I removed the plywood roof from the little fella. It will provide a little bit more stability for the decking. I'm also going to use the 2x4s to create the front edging that the decking will sit on. It came from the roofing man's skip, and I cut the right length. I used some of them to create the additional 2x2s for the slabs that you'll see in a moment. And I join these 2x4s together using angle brackets that I have flattened through the gentle persuasion that my lump hammer provides. The lump hammer and the pallet buster live in my pallet busting kit, and my top tip to all new beginners is to have a pallet busting kit for breaking up free wood. I tried to get all the ends as even as possible when gluing them up, but I already knew that 2 of them were too short. I plan to trim one end of every slab using the straight edge jig that I made in February 2023. If you want someone to tell you all the best jigs and templates, Ross the Fat Hog Woodworker is your man. Go check out his YouTube channel. And enter plan B. Trim all the edges, lay them along the wall, and see how much I need to hack off the other side. I drop them into place for a quick vibe check. Now, there's one here with a sticker, way too short, and a few of the others are looking highly suspicious as well. And at this point, it's looking less like a luxury deck and more like a festival seating area held together entirely by optimism and vibes. Now, if I was a professional, I'd use my planer or a router, never know the one, sled to make both sides perfectly level. I have both, but frankly, I can't be bothered, and time's not on my side either. I've got that deadline, don't forget. I'll just attack the top with a belt sander because, as somebody once said,
there is nothing a belt sander can't fix.
I'm running one of those giant pallet slab battens underneath the front and back of these slabs. This holds them tight and creates a uniform flat surface because I trust the ground level pallets about as far as I can throw them, which I might have to do if I don't finish this on time. Of course, this means I have to build the whole thing upside down and flip it later, which was not in the original plan, which of course never existed in the first place because plans are for people who know what they're doing. Time to secure the battens to both the front and back and trim the edges at the front with the circular saw. Now we're upside down, so obviously this is at the front, which will be at the back. And I use my high specification circular saw measuring tool to judge where the blade will come out. And I cut the edges. Now, I have to slice and speed this footage up because bank holiday heatwave arrived early and my cordless batteries absolutely hated it. They overheated, died in seconds and flat out refused to sit on the charger. I went through 4 batteries on this one single cut. They lasted about as long as a packet of chocolate hobnobs when guests say, no, we really can't stay that long. And by the end of it, I felt like a Formula 1 mechanic doing a high-stress pit stop with just more sweating and worse language. I add the 2x4 edging with some unmolested angle brackets, and then it's time for the big flip. Alright, up she goes. This is like picking up a wardrobe moving into a moving van. Drag her to the front like a soap opera villain getting written out mid-season. That little wobbly bit of wood with the stability of a pub table on cobblestones. Don't worry about that, we'll sort it out later. Hold her steady, steady. And she drops like a politician spotting an unfriendly question from a journalist. All that's left to do is, well, shove her along. Give her a little lift. Give her a little walk on for stability test. Give her a good kick in. And we're nearly done for the day. Beautiful. Absolute universe slab. Glad I was on my own. Wouldn't want that to be any easier. I put the AstroTurf pallet garden back in front of Bailey's kennel. Funny thing is, that kennel was the very first thing I ever built 5 years ago. Mad, isn't it? One project turns into another, and suddenly you're flipping timber around the garden like a lumberjack circus act. I test out the hammock position, getting comfortably.
Oh, Bailey.
I even test where the beer should be. Just there. And then genuine moment here. The Bailey bark. Now the Bailey bark you hear in this video is Bailey barking at our guests arriving. How was that for perfect timing? So we're finished. We met our target, and we now have time to check if Bailey has eaten our guests. So we've gone from monster ugly to that'll do quite nicely, thank you very much. The next morning, I'm back out with a belt sander because we woodworkers just cannot get enough sanding into our lives. It's a scorching hot day, so naturally I put on a heavy painting shirt to ensure maximum sweat. Keep an eye on Bailey here. If you've seen my videos before or follow the dog with the yellow hoop channel, you'll know Bailey does not move for anything. Vacuum cleaner, belt sander, table saw, he just doesn't care. The lawnmower is the worst. He just walks next to it like a bodyguard. Now to finish, we're using decking oil. It's Parkside from Lidl, and if you're a beginner or you're on a tight budget, then follow Rob over at the Weekend Shed Head here on YouTube.
Hello, Sheddies. How you doing again? In my shed.
Lidl Parkside and Aldi Ferrex are his bread and butter, but you won't find a better review of their offerings. Buying things from the middle of Lidl really tests your mental resolve. You don't just shop at Lidl, you drift into a parallel universe. Now, here's the interesting conundrum. Do you buy things because you actually need them? Or do you buy a 5-litre tin of decking oil, a wet and dry vacuum cleaner, a diving suit on the off chance you might need them on Tuesday? I asked Bailey, but he's not in the mood. Now this wood, it's like the Forth Bridge. By the time I finish the first coat, it's already sucked it dry and is begging for a second. I'm exactly the same with the Guinness, to be fair. It's all a little bit too much for Bailey, who clearly is not going to move for me. Time for a second coat, but I'm not going to bore you with that. We'll just speed it up. And that will do. Right, a quick walk around. It's not a Swiss watch, it's not going to Buckingham Palace, but it's free, recycled and reclaimed wood. It's time for an ice cream. Solero Minis, and boy, do they mean mini. They're the size of a postage stamp. Got 2 keen interested parties though. And then it's time for a cider, I think, with a third dog joining the party for a cuddle. So there we are. How to make decking for a hammock using completely free of charge, reclaimed, recycled or reused wood. Hopefully you have some ideas of how to collect free wood, store free wood and use free wood. And you have some YouTube channels to get motivation, project ideas, jigs and templates and cost-efficient tools. Meanwhile, you leave me with a bottle of Wadworth 6X, 1923 original recipe, a made by Shea bottle opener, and a cuddle with Bailey dog. What could be better? Lovely. Lovely. Hope you've enjoyed. See you again.